Cam Radio, we go have it. Your boy Tony G, Big Lou, Tuesday night, 8 o'clock. Lots to talk about, a lot of money to be made. It's the sports book. We cover a lot of gambling, we cover a lot of sports. Jumping into it, Boston is showing why they're the number one seed. There's no doubt about it. Lou, you were
Absolutely.
right. Yeah. So I definitely, and there was a time that was it yesterday or game or the other day? They were up by 30 at one point, and
Yes.
Dallas did come. Yeah, Dallas did come. Fight back. I don't know how much of that was fight back and let off the gas. Hard to say.
Mhm.
A lot of key factors. One of them, I think, a lot of times. I mean, there's many, but the role that Holiday plays as a
Yes.
and I hate to say not as a role player, but the role he plays in that team. That's a better way of putting it. A role that
Right.
he plays in the team, even when he's only scoring 9 points, he's a huge factor. Defensively, um, he is no. Yeah, that's another factor. Put with all the pieces. Tell me what you saw.
Well, what I saw in the game is just like you said, Drew Holiday is that X-Men, Porzingis and Al Horford are making it difficult for the bench and the Mavericks bigs to do their work inside. They did get some points, but they're making it very difficult, like on some key plays, like kicking your leg out when the pass gets thrown to an open Al Horford. You got to run back and challenge that shot. You can't let Al Horford have a wide open three. Uh,
Correct.
their bench is learning that on the road, things are not going to, or the ball's not going to bounce your way. Things are not going to go your way. So you're going to have to make that extra effort. And with the Drew Holiday playing defense on Kyrie, it's making him he's getting shots, but it's making it difficult for him, to be consistent because it's
Right.
not because in the last series when they was playing Minnesota, these guys haven't, experienced a Kyrie Irving like the Celtics have.
Right.
He's
Correct.
been there before, so they kind of know his moves. It's more difficult now for Kyrie to get his momentum going, which makes Luca feel like he has to do everything, and then that's when the mistakes happen. And when the mistakes happen, the other team capitalizes off of it to get points, and that's how they win in the game. They're not winning them by a lot of points, but they're making the key plays to get the game done, to get things done in the fourth quarter.
Let me ask you this: Do you? I think we're going to see. I think we're going to learn a lot about the Boston. I mean, a lot about the Dallas Mavericks right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you why. I'm not writing them off at all, but I will say this: there's something to be said about this. You learn the most. I'm using Mike Tyson's famous phrase. Everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the mouth. And
Absolutely.
that this is, I remember Mike Tyson saying, you never know how good you are until you get knocked to the canvas and you go, okay, here's where this is what's going to make or break me. And by saying that, now we're going to see how good the Mavericks are. They're down two.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it was all fun and games when they were dictating the pace, dictating everything. They haven't dictated anything in the last two games. Um, Boston's not afraid of them by any
Nope.
means, not at all. Because I really think that was something what happened with Minnesota was they jumped out on a lead, and they got to do, I wouldn't say showboating, but the Timberwolves were a little afraid. They didn't know what to do. Boston's not afraid. They're not
No.
really. They're not intimidated by Luka. They're not intimidated. I didn't say they didn't respect him. I'm just saying,
Right.
yeah, it's a totally different thing. And so now we're going to see how good Dallas really is. Because if Dallas gets swept, it kind of goes. Then there's going to be a lot of really they weren't that good. It just I mean, I want it to be a good series. Now, I will say this, and which is there's always the anticipation of. Let me pull this up. Well, the Mavericks are down by the Mavericks are down by 2. They're going home to play, so they have to win. That's
Mhm.
not that's not necessarily a true statement. Um, that's what we think, but we don't. I mean, that's how a lot of times people will think. But this is why I'm going there. Okay, so it's going to be game 3.
Mhm.
Um, oh, can I pull it up? You're going to let me pull it up. I was trying to pull up the spread
Okay.
on game Here we go. Man, there for a second I was all right. All right. So NBA, WNBA, boom. Right
All right.
now they're giving they're
Go
giving
ahead.
Boston they're giving Boston +2. Now on a gambling aspect, I mean I like Boston +2. I mean I don't think I think they could have made it a pick 'em, but
Hmm.
when you give Boston points, they just won 2 games in a row. I mean, you're giving the Mavs a lot of credit. Um, you're giving them a lot of credit saying that they're going to win, and I don't necessarily don't. I like the over the
Hmm.
212. Um, I like Boston. Stop them. Show me you can beat them. And this
Right.
is a good enough. And this is a good enough spread where some of the other spreads were bigger. I mean, 7, 8, 9. This is
Right.
+2.
Yeah.
Um,
Pretty close.
yeah, I mean, I get it. It's a must win. It's a
Hmm.
must win. It's a must win for the Mavericks, and that's fine. They're playing at home. That's fine.
Hmm.
So, other than those 2 aspects of this, gambling wise, so what's changing?
The momentum's changing with Boston, with Dallas being at home. Their bench and their key players are going to hit their shots. Um, I do think that Kyrie is going to get his shot going because he's going to have the momentum, you know, out of that arena. But what what concerns me is you can you can coach a player up, but a player has to step up. In other words, you got Kyrie and Luca, and you got their big men, which they impressed me a little in Boston. They got to the bucket, they got more shots, but the lack of defensive awareness of the bigs to try to make it difficult for Porzingis and Al Horford. Those are the key players. Everybody talks about Jaylen Brown. The key for the Celtics is Drew Holiday on Kyrie. Now we've seen that and it's being effective. But Dallas big men are going to have to play some big boy ball with Porzingis and with Horford because it's not like Minnesota when what Cat was going to do and Rudy Gobert he was just there for rebounds and blocks. These guys can shoot. They can get their
Yes,
buckets on the inside and they can hit one on the outside if you leave them open. So they're going to
yes,
have to step up their defensive awareness, and they're gonna have to switch when these guys switch to challenge this shot. If they challenge it, throws the shot off a little bit, might miss, get a rebound out of that. But they're going to have to, get their defensive awareness up, and being at home will get them more confidence. And I think they're going to play a little bit harder. But I don't know why it's so difficult for you to be on that level at home. I guess because you got the crowd behind. But
sure, sure.
yeah, but Drew can play defense home and away. You know, he's been
Yeah,
with the Bucks and he shut down some
that's
of the
right.
top players in this game.
He
So
won a
he's not
ring
going
with
to
the
be the
Bucks,
problem. Yes, he
right?
did.
He won.
Yes,
Yeah,
he
yeah.
did. And so it's going to be up to the bigs for Dallas to make it easy for Luca and Kyrie to work. Because if they're hitting their shots and they're putting pressure on Horford and Porzingis, then that way the rhythm can get going. and then they can get easier buckets. They're going to have to step up. Their bigs is going to be the key factor in games 3 and 4. They're going to have to bring it on both games, and then they have to take it back to Boston, and they have to
Right.
apply the same pressure. If they don't
And
do that, it's not going to be a good. It's not going to be a good finals for them.
so so you brought up two people, and there's somebody we haven't even mentioned that they got to handle, and that's Tatum.
Tatum.
Can't forget
Mm-hmm.
can't forget about him.
Right.
Al's going to do what Al's going to do. He's not.
Mm-hmm.
He ain't. You're not. You're. He's not. He's not going to be scared by the moment. He's been there.
Nope. He's been
He's
there.
not. Yeah. He's not. I mean, he's been in the league a long time. He's going to do what he's going to do, and that's what I mean. So it's up to you to stop him. And I think that's. I think Al doesn't get enough credit. I think the whole nucleus of that team works very well with each one of them. I think
Yes.
they're. I mean, I think Al fits into that situation, and I think Tatum fits in that situation. Holiday, I mean, it's like they all
Yeah.
bring something to the table, and
Right.
together, um, that's a force. And you might stop one, but you got four other guys on that. On that, I think. I think Dallas can win? Well, of course, they're in the pros. Do
Mm-hmm.
I think they're going to have the work cut out for them?
Yes.
I
Yes,
think
they.
because I really think that I think that Boston has the mindset, let's not let up, because
Right.
they're trying to win a championship because they've been the golden team that's never won. You know what I mean? Or
Right.
you know what I mean? In the
Right.
last couple of years, they got something to prove because a lot of people have talked a lot of smack about them, saying they ain't been able to win so they got it on their back too. You know what I mean? The old monkey on their back trying to shake off this, and then
Right.
Dallas is trying to do it also. I just, like I said, as a betting man, I like Boston plus
Mm-hmm.
2 or what I always tell people, I said, you can go in. I'm going to do it right now. So Boston, you could actually get Boston plus 4.5 for like minus 179, which ain't bad action. And so, I mean, that's because this could be down to the wire. I mean, I know there's a lot of Maverick fans, and I think sometimes we're talking about gambling and what's your personal opinion and now that's your team. We're not in that gambling. I like the Mavs. I like tweaking the thing. I like the over too.
Mm-hmm.
I like the over at 212. At 212. So that's good. Oh, and then this weekend was the Belmont.
Yes.
Dornach won. Yeah, the 17-1 mind frame. So I had mind frame. I had 10 and 8, and then I put a little bit on 6. So I did get a little bit of. But it was a good race. A lot of people
Mm-hmm.
out at the Louisiana Downs to watch it, so it was kind of cool. Paid paid $37 for a $2 bet. So there were some people that won some money on that one.
Oh yeah.
Let me go. Now let's go to. I'm trying to switch back. Hold on. NFL. Cowboys still haven't signed. Have
CD
not
Lamb.
signed.
He's waiting.
Nope.
CD Lamb's playing the waiting game because Jefferson's got paid. He's waiting on Tyreek. Jefferson's got because Jefferson's got his, and a couple other receivers has got theirs, but the top tier was the ones that's gonna change the game or change the level or the bar, for the cap. Yeah, for the pay. So I think CD Lamb is waiting on Tyreek Hill to see what the Dolphins do with him. And then that's when he's gonna go for his because they haven't did anything with Michael Parsons either. And if he mess
No.
around, right, and if he mess around and he play lights out this year and gets that defensive player of the year tag, if he gets that put on top of what he's fighting for, it's going to be difficult because everything is riding on this season. If Dak balls out, he's going to be the highest paid quarterback in the league.
Yeah, I agree.
So
I agree. If they don't, yeah,
I think CD Lamb is waiting to see what they're going to do with Tyreek Hill, and then that's when he's going to up his ante on his negotiation.
I really believe if Dak wanted to, because they haven't signed him yet, Dak
Mhm.
probably could get 275,
Oh,
280.
oh, easy.
Yeah. However, however they um however they made it up. And the thing is it's well, to me, and I'm just saying this, I'm telling you, it's going to become a factor when you start having, and this ain't nothing against Dak. Look at Kirk Cousins. I mean, he's got paid and has done
And he's
has
hurt.
and he's hurt. I mean, you're gonna. I mean, to me, when you're paying quarterbacks that have not won in the playoffs, I mean, I just think it's going to reach a point where the quarterback's going to be a very hard position um, to compensate and to keep the rest of the player. You know what I mean? Because
Hmm.
if Dak waits, somebody will probably pay him 70. So if you're
Yes,
paying your starting quarterback $70 million, it doesn't leave a lot of factor for anything else. That
right.
just is what it is. I mean, you're only going to have so many people. There's only so much money to go around. Um, so that's where, and like I said, I think Dak could get 70. But my thing is somebody was throwing that at me, and I was like, okay, if he got 70, but what's it going to be? And it's going to be just like Wilson. You know what I mean? It's going to be this dead
Right.
area. I mean, he's going to get paid. There's no doubt. I mean, I know he's going to get paid, but does he go
Hmm.
anywhere does he go anywhere of value? Or he's just going to be the $70 million? I mean, and the reason why I say that is you got to look at the Rodgers situation. You got to look at the Murray situation. You got to look at Wilson's situation. I mean, he's only got a 1 year deal with Pittsburgh or whatever it is he signed. Because if he
Right.
sucks, he's gone.
He's
And
out of there.
yeah, Pittsburgh got him cheap. And that's why I keep telling people they got him
Hmm.
cheap. I
They
don't,
got him cheap,
they got him.
and
They got
they
two
really.
quarterbacks
I was about
for
to say
cheap.
that they really played it smart because now they got two quarterbacks for cheap. Justin Fields can be their future. They've
Yep.
already signed Mike Tomlin to a 3-year deal. He's got a 3-year extension on his contract. So
Right.
he's there. He's going to be there for 20 years plus, maybe, depending on, how it goes. But yeah, I think if Russ doesn't ball out, he's out of there. Justin Fields up. They only paid him for 1 year. You ever still got to cover all of that other money.
Yep.
And you see what they're dealing with. I mean, they got Bo Nix and they got Drew Lock. You got a rookie and you got Drew Lock that's a developing quarterback. We can
Right.
see what type of magic that Sean Payton can do with him, but
Yeah.
I
It'll
there's
be
not a lot of
interesting to
confidence there
see.
for me.
Yeah.
Be interesting.
Yeah. I know. And then you got, like I said, when the $70 million deal comes out, it's almost like you got 1 year to do it. Kind of like when Tampa put together the team, and really they weren't paying Tom that much. I mean,
Yeah,
not no, he took 25 million or whatever it was, and
yeah,
he
yeah. He
put
took a
every
discount,
he put it.
but
Yeah,
he's smart. I'm gonna take a
he won a
discount.
Super Bowl,
You put players around me, and I can get you there.
and he did. He won the Super Bowl.
And he won the Super
So
Bowl.
that is definitely. I mean, it's all because it's going to become just economics in the NFL. It's
Hmm.
just going to become numbers. How do we make this work? I mean, they're playing fantasy football on a big level. I mean, really,
Yes,
that's what we're playing.
yes.
That's all they're
That's what
doing.
it is.
Playing fantasy football on a big level. Um, but that being said, I think, like I said, it'll be interesting to see what Dallas is waiting for with all these players, top players. Um,
Mhm.
I don't know what they want. I mean, they got to pay somebody. Yeah, they got to pay, and I don't even know. And it's so crazy because I don't even know why they got Zeke back. He really didn't
Yeah,
do anything in New England. I mean, they got him
right.
back cheap. I get that they got him back cheap, maybe that's it. They got him back cheap, and they figure they can make something happen with it.
Yeah, they're trying to take a page out of some of the other teams' books. They're going to have a committee of running backs. So I think they're going to have, 2 to 3 backs, and they're all going to have different situations. Kind of like it's kind of like what Sean Payton did with
Winston?
Alvin Kamara
Oh yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
Mark Ingram. So I think they're
Right,
trying to
right,
do that. I think they're trying to do that with Zeke and whatever other running back they have in their backfield. I think they drafted a running back.
right. You know what's so crazy is if you and this is just totally off the subject. So Justin Jefferson got the mega deal, wide receivers. If you're a big football fan, this is not about gambling. Minnesota's had some bad to the bone wide receivers over the last 40 years.
Yes, they
I
have.
mean, when you really, I mean, Diggs came
Yeah.
from there. Amr
Yep.
Rashard, Moss came from there. And there's a lot of big
Yep.
names. You just go,
Yep. Chris
they
Carter.
yeah, Chris Carr. Jeez, Chris Carr. I mean, it's amazing how many
Yeah. They
great
they
they make
yeah
some.
they stayed on
They
top with some receivers. Yes, they did.
Yes, they are definitely. Yeah, his deal pushes the deal. Um, it's going to be $35 million a year. I mean, here's the deal, and I'm throwing this out. So if you got a guy like that on your team and you pay him 35 million and you pay Dak 70, that's 105. Ain't a whole lot left. I mean, you got another
Well, and
100
you
and
still
some.
got to have somebody on your defensive side. Still got to have a
Yeah,
defense.
got to have a
You know,
line. You know what I mean?
got
I
to
mean,
have
you're what do
corners.
you?
Yeah.
Yeah, got to have corners, and don't forget the tight end. I mean,
Right.
and that's where I
Offensive
think
line
we're
too. Yeah.
going. Offense.
Hmm.
I mean, that's where we're going. We're getting so heavy on the quarterback, and I'll tell you this too. I was thinking about this today. So many teams are willing to throw money at a quarterback because they believe that they can win with a mediocre quarterback, with a manager. That's what I
Right.
believe, because these people are not spending the money thinking that they're getting the greatest quarterback ever. There's no way they thought Wilson was. They just thought, man, he'll be good enough, so it'll give us a chance to win the Super Bowl because I think we have a good enough team to win. To win. I mean, and that's kind of that it's the same thing as San Fran. You
I
know,
was about
they
to
like
say.
to
Yep.
use it. Yeah,
Hmm.
and they've come close, but they have not won a Super Bowl in a long time. Now they have gone to the Super Bowl, which with clock management people, but they haven't won with it. So that's another thing. I wonder if that's going to be the theory of, huh? I mean, yes, we've had some. The Ravens did win a Super Bowl with Joe Cool. He
Hmm.
was I would say above average. Wouldn't say the greatest ever.
Right.
And there's been some, but most of the Super Bowls have been won by great quarterback play in the Super Bowl.
Hmm.
And I think you can't expect great quarterback play in the Super Bowl if your quarterbacks are not great. You can expect. I
Right.
mean, you're only going to get, if your running back isn't as fast as Tyreek Hill, don't expect him to be as fast as Tyreek Hill in the Super Bowl. It's just
Right.
not. It's not. It doesn't make any sense. But it will. Like I said, I think all this will. It'll come to a head. It'll come to a point where it's like, okay, because you can't just keep raising the. They keep. I mean, they do raise the cap every year. I don't know. It's definitely. But when you start paying wide receivers $35 million a year, that's
Right.
a big number. And
Hmm.
somebody will get more than him probably in the next 18, 24 months, which is even more money, which raises. But like I said, it'll be interesting. I've got some feedback from some Cowboy fans, and I even had. I like to call them the real fans, the ones that really kind of know the game, not the ones that
Hmm.
just. And one of them had said, I wouldn't be surprised if maybe they just try to get as much as they could get for all of them. And I was like, man, they could get a lot. You know what I'm saying? They could get a
Hmm.
lot. Um, I guess it's just all all in the evaluation of does this team truly have a shot at getting a Super Bowl, and that's that's an answer that hasn't been answered yet. So I think he may go. I think he'll give it one more year. But look at the Giants. Paid all that money. Didn't really get a lot of. I mean, didn't really get. I mean, he didn't have a lot to work with. The
Nope.
Jets. They gave Rodgers all that money. And he
Got
hasn't
him
done.
off. Hasn't done anything. Got him his offensive coordinator who really hasn't proven himself. You know, we got Sean Payton got a lot of flack for what he said about him as a head coach, but now you got Robert Saleh, the defensive coordinator, or he's the head coach, but he works more on the defensive side. He's getting more involved in the offense.
Right.
And if Matt Hackett is the guy that Aaron say he is, shouldn't have to worry about it.
Yes.
It could have been a situation like Tom and Leftwich in Tampa. They had
Right.
that offense. All Raheem Morris had to do was worry about the defense. That's all he had to worry about. So, but and with the Miami situation and Tyreek's contract, what about Tua? Has Tua
Right.
proven himself? This is a prove year for him because I think next season is the season to see if he is going to elevate and get those guys over the hump, or is he just going to be a mediocre quarterback and they're not going to pay him the money, and try to go elsewhere? Their problem
I
is that I think what Miami needs to do is they need to go where it's cold and work and practice OTAs, all that stuff. They need to go do that in the cold because they are a warm weather team. And that's what kills them. You have to play New York, Buffalo, and
Kansas
New
City.
England.
Yeah.
Yeah,
New England can't. I mean, there's
in their
that.
division. Yeah, all
Oh,
of their
yeah,
teams in their division is in cold weather. So you need to
yes.
go up there and train or get some cool air, make it, 30, 40 degrees inside the dome or whatever you need to do. But they have to get accustomed to the change of the weather.
Yeah, especially later in the season because that's when it all comes into play. Hey, we're about running out of time, Lou. I want to
Mm-hmm.
thank everyone tuning into the sports book. Me and Big Lou totally appreciate you guys. Don't forget to KM Radio. You go to KM Radio Facebook, Sportsbook Facebook. Leave us DM. Got any events coming up? All right, guys. Want to thank everyone for tuning in every Tuesday night, 8:00 on the Sportsbook with Big Lou on KM Radio. Where we go ham.
Yeah.